Most people think they know the story of Jonah. A prophet runs from God, gets swallowed by a giant fish, and learns his lesson. But that reading misses almost everything the book is actually about.
Right. Because Jonah is not really a story about a fish. It is a story about mercy, specifically about who deserves it, who gets to decide that, and what happens when a prophet of God thinks the answer is nobody but his own people.
Which makes it one of the most uncomfortable and surprisingly relevant books in the entire Bible. So let's walk through it in 4 movements.
The first movement is Jonah runs. God comes to Jonah, who is an actual historical prophet in Israel, and tells him to go to Nineveh. Nineveh is the capital city of Assyria, and the Assyrians are not just foreigners. They are Israel's most feared and brutal enemies.
So God tells his prophet to go preach to the people Israel hates most. And Jonah's response is immediate. He turns around and gets on a boat going in the exact opposite direction.
Which is remarkable. Most prophets in the Bible at least argue with God before they obey. Jonah just runs.
So God sends a violent storm that threatens to destroy the ship. And here is where the story gets interesting. The pagan sailors on the boat are terrified. They are praying to their gods. They are doing everything they can to survive.
And where is Jonah? He is asleep below deck.
The prophet is asleep while the pagans are praying. That contrast is not accidental. The book is already making a point.
The sailors eventually wake Jonah up and figure out that the storm is his fault. And Jonah tells them to throw him overboard. They don't want to. These pagan sailors actually try to save his life before they finally give in.
And the moment Jonah hits the water, the storm stops. And the sailors respond by worshiping God. The people Jonah would have looked down on are now the ones demonstrating genuine faith.
And that brings us to the second movement, Jonah prays. God sends a great fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah spends 3 days inside it. And from inside the fish, he prays.
Now this prayer sounds like repentance. Jonah cries out to God. God hears him, and the fish spits him out onto dry land. It feels like the turning point of the story.
But here is something important to notice. Jonah never actually repents of running. He thanks God for rescuing him, but he never says, "I was wrong to flee." He never says, "I should have gone to Nineveh." That matters for what comes later.
The third movement is Jonah preaches. God tells Jonah a second time to go to Nineveh, and this time Jonah goes.
He walks into the city and delivers what is honestly the shortest and most reluctant sermon in the Bible. 8 words in Hebrew. 40 days and Nineveh will be overthrown.
No call to repentance, no invitation, no mercy offered. Just a flat announcement of destruction. And yet, the entire city repents. From the king down to the animals, they fast and put on sackcloth and cry out to God.
The most wicked city in the ancient world responds to the worst sermon ever preached with the most dramatic repentance in the entire Old Testament.
And God relents. He sees their repentance and decides not to destroy the city.
Which brings us to the fourth movement, and this is where the book becomes truly extraordinary. Jonah pouts.
Jonah is furious. He actually prays to God and says, "This is exactly what I was afraid of. I knew you were going to do this. I knew you were a gracious and compassionate God, slow to anger and rich in mercy. That is why I ran in the first place."
So here is the real reason Jonah ran. It was never fear. It was theology. Jonah knew God might forgive Nineveh, and he did not want that to happen. He would rather die than see his enemies receive mercy.
So Jonah sits outside the city, hoping God will still destroy it. And God causes a plant to grow up and give Jonah shade. Jonah is happy about the plant. Then God sends a worm to kill the plant, and Jonah is furious again. He says, "It would be better for me to die than to live."
And God asks him a question. "You care about this plant that you did not make and did not tend. Should I not care about Nineveh?" A city of more than 120,000 people?
And then the book ends. Right there. No answer from Jonah, no resolution, just God's question hanging in the air.
That ending is intentional. The book doesn't tell us whether Jonah ever changed his mind, because the question isn't really for Jonah, it's for the reader.
Do you get to decide who deserves God's mercy? Do you get to draw the boundary around who is inside and who is outside?
And the book's answer is clear, even if Jonah's is not. God's mercy is not a resource to be rationed. It is not reserved for the people we think deserve it. God cares about Nineveh. He cares about the sailors. He even cares about Jonah in the middle of his bitterness and rebellion.
Which means the most confrontational thing about the book of Jonah is not the fish. It is the last question. Because most of us have been Jonah. We have decided who is too far gone, who is too different, who is too much our enemy to deserve grace.
And the book just asks, should I not care about them too?
Hey, thanks for watching this video. If this was helpful, make sure you subscribe for more videos exploring the big ideas of the Bible. Every video we make is designed to show how the biblical story fits together and why it still matters today. We'll see you in the next one.